Hello, welcome to Facebook Live. This is your host of the On Fire Show, Daryl Brooks. It is 10 o'clock. This is one of my late shows. I usually be laying down watching Netflix or something on Facebook or Netflix or some good TV show or something. But I'm up. It's 10 o'clock, and I have my coffee and have this dog like making sounds. I guess he wants to come on, but can't. How you watched? So this is Daryl Brooks. Hello, how you doing? And I'm just giving people a chance to come on and who's up this 10:03 and talking about some serious issues. And Fred, hey Fred, how you doing? Fred's there, and just giving everybody a chance to come on and talk about some things. We know it's a lot of things that we're talking about around the country. And hello, Dee and Joe and Martinez and Tiffany, and wow, y'all just up this time of night. And John, Joe, and hey, Joe, how y'all doing? This is the On Fire Show. I'm the host, Daryl Brooks, and as you know about what's happening with the On Fire tour, we're getting a lot of support, but we need more support. Our goal is to raise about $10,000 to for the first and second leg of our tour to go into the inner cities and talk about the Constitution, talk about what's happening, politics, talking about legal immigration, talking about all the serious issues that need to be talked about in the inner city areas. A lot of our inner cities, especially African Americans and poor people, they're really, the liberals have basically conquered the inner cities, and now it's time for the conservatives to come back, and we're doing it at the RV tour. On Fire tour with RV, taking our streets back, and that's what we're doing starting April 2nd. It's going to be exciting, and I'm glad to see you guys on. Everybody's on. Hey, and so it's a lot of people that are watching. I'm excited. I got my coffee. You know, I need coffee at 10 o'clock and nice coffee. Great coffee maker. Everybody should have a coffee maker. And, we're talking about a lot of inner city issues, crime, violence, drugs, prison industrial complex. We're talking about turning back the individuals and the community on conservatism. And getting our people in the city back to conservatism, back to conservative values, bringing God and country back. And because a lot of people in the cities are frustrated and are tired of the lives of the liberal, progressive groups that support, gay marriage, transgender. It's okay for, like I always talk about, it's okay for a man to dress up like a woman to dress up like a man. We want our young kids to especially have great jobs in our families. We want kids to have great jobs. We're tired of the $10, $11, $12 an hour job. We want our kids to graduate from 12th grade with a 12th grade reading and math level and going to college or technical school to do some great things. And that's all about being America. And as our president, Donald Trump, talks about making America great again. But how do we make America great again? We make America great again by getting our values right and education right. We get our young kids to be great educators and make sure they graduate with the 12th grade reading level and 12th grade math. Making sure our kids go to technical school or college and prepare themselves for the 21st century. That's one of the ways that we can make America great again, and stop watching the crazy television foolish shows that's on television. How do we also make America great again? We have the problem you've seen in Florida, and it is so sad. I think it was 17 murdered, but we have a serious problem. We have our young kids that are very violent, and I like to be very blunt on this show. When, you're inner city African American kids, whether you're inner city white or Hispanic, African American, our young kids in the city, they're watching Grand Theft Auto, They're watching the most violent video games, and yeah, they're watching the most violent video games. They're watching the craziest television shows, and it's sad. Grand Theft Auto. You have, yes, a lot of young kids that grow up on the Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where you're talking about shooting someone in the head. You're talking about raping, murdering, stealing cars. And that's yeah, though the videos are in the African-American community, and a lot of African-American young kids are watching these violent video games and the crazy television shows. And in the suburbs, and I have to be straight blunt, white suburban kids are watching they're watching the violent video games too, violent military games. You know, and we have to work together. We're too violent of a country. You know, there's violent video games, these military games that these kids are playing at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and you know, it's gone mad. We have, you know, I believe in the Second Amendment, and I believe that yes, we should have the right to bear arms and protect ourselves, because that's a human right. But yeah, but we have to. Yeah, you're right, darling. We have to. We're a violent country, and you know, we have to change the way we think about violence and stop watching these violent video games and violent television shows. You know, and you know, we need to talk to our kids about violence, and you know, because we're dooming ourselves. I mean, just look at, you know, the two races as a people, suburban and the city. You know, suburban kids, you know, they're going and shooting up schools, taking pills, overdosing. It's in the suburbs. And then you look at the inner city, African American, white suburbs, opiates, school shootings, mass shootings. You look at the inner city African Americans, what? Same, somewhat similar problem. Drugs, yes, but also drive-by shootings, killings on the street for drugs. So both black and white kids are suffering, and they need healing. And it's our job as Christians and as leaders to give these kids this healing. And that's what Dr. King talked about. You know, I keep quoting Dr. King because, you know, Dr. King is one of our greatest patriots and greatest religious leaders. And he talked about violence, you know, and we are too violent. Our young kids are too violent. So, you know, one of the things that with Martin Luther King, you know, he had an aide named Dr. Bernard Lafayette. And I want y'all to look this up. Dr. Bernard Lafayette was Dr. King's aide. And he talked about nonviolence education. And that's what we need in our inner city kids, inner city African Americans, and suburban white kids, you know, in these areas, rural areas, and these, you know, where they're committing all these crazy crimes, inner city and suburb kids. And, you know, we have to come together. And Dr. Bernard Lafayette teaches nonviolent education. And you know, to totally be honest, there's too many violent movies, too many violent video games, and you know, and we have to do something about it, because Hollywood is criminal of itself. You know, the things that they have shown and done, and we have to make some changes, people. You know, God is watching, and God has always been a part of our lives, and we have to get our young children to know that with inner city and suburban black and white kids, listen, you know, get back, turn to God. God is wonderful. God is a part of our lives, and you know, we're not perfect. This country is definitely not a perfect country, and we're not a perfect people. But we must learn from our mistakes and work together. That's so important. You know, like I said, turn to God. You know, we have kids are in too much on, you know, drugs, alcohol. Abusing alcohol, abusing drugs. They're violent, as you know, like I said, violent video games, the violent television shows, the violent stuff on cable, violent. We have kids that grew up on watching crazy television shows, at ages of 4 and 5 years old. One of the scenarios is that, when you have single parents or parents that, give your son or their daughter a remote control while they go in the other room and watch TV. Your kid is at home watching 300 stations, and that's okay, and we have been taught, well, if it's on television, it's okay because it's on television, so nothing can't be wrong. And now we're realizing a lot of the stuff that our young kids have been watching on television was wrong, and we wonder why our kids are mixed up, because they don't know what's right or what's wrong anymore. They have turned away from God, and they're angry, and and they need help, and they need healing, because our young people are the future. And so when we have young people who don't know God, when they get in a situation, who do they turn to? Who do they view? Who do they look up to? Who do they pray to? Because they're not praying to God. And you have some are, but a lot of our inner city and suburban kids have lost their way, and it's our job to speak out and teach them. One of the things, I watch T.D. Jakes. I also watch Charles Stanley. I mean, those two individuals, whether T.D. Jakes or Charles Stanley. T.D. Jakes is out of Texas, and Charles Stanley is out of Atlanta, Georgia, in that area. So, I tell people that if you want to realize good preachers, and T.D. Jakes and Charles Stanley, maybe y'all know some other ones, but those are the two main individuals that I watch, and Donald Hilliard out of Perth Amboy, Cathedral International. But, we have to do some changing. We have to wake up. We have to learn to forgive each other and love and move forward, not backwards, because, what are this country is coming to when you got an individual who has totally have lost his mind, had ADHD, he had all types of serious issues, and he was able to get a gun and go into a school and kill 17 individuals. And, there's talk on CNN, and I was watching a town hall meeting, and they had thousands of people inside of a stadium, I believe, and they were talking about gun violence. Well, one of the issues that, I tell people that, guns don't kill people. People kill people. And we're living in a violent culture, more violence than ever before. So, a young kid get upset, and all he knows is pick up the gun and kill, whether he's in the inner city or suburb, whether he's a black or white. They know to pick up the gun and go in the community and ravage the community. And so we have an obligation to talk about this. And, certain individual kids shouldn't receive automatic weapons. It's wrong. But the main thing is, dealing with violence, how to change their hearts, how to change their minds, and learning to love. That's what King talked about. I always to quote that, we're all caught up in this great inescapable network mutuality. And, we're all together as one. And so, we have to work together as Americans. I am pro-America, and I believe in America. I am born and raised in America, and there's a lot of things I agree with America, and there's certain things I disagree. But I definitely agree with, with making this country great again, working together, let's building this country as a whole, and our American citizens come first. There's nothing wrong with that. So is there any questions that y'all want to ask? And see that some people are watching, and Anwar, hey, what's going on? And I see Anwar is watching. Brother Anwar, how you doing? So is there any questions anybody want to ask? Yes, love for each other is really important. Kids need a sense of community. Yes, Brenda, you're right. And MAGA, make America great again. Yes, you have to make America great again. Yes, kids need a sense of community. You know, we have to, like I said, preach love to our young kids, hear the kids to church. You know, I always talk about, hey, Anwar, I always talk about my grandmother, Mama Grace, down in St. Mary's, Georgia, where she, you know, took me to church 5 days a week, some days 6 days a week, some days 3 Sunday services. You know, yes, yeah, and 3 services on Sunday and 5, 6 days a week in church when I was like 11, 12 years old. So I got a big dose of God in church. But, you know, yes, do we really need to get back to those values again? You know, we all have fallen short. You know, we're all made mistakes, all Christians and people who believe in God. No one is perfect. We've all made mistakes. We've done things wrong. We said things. God knows I've said things wrong. I've done things wrong, and I made serious mistakes. But it's about belief in God, and that's what God wants you to do, is believe in Him. Yeah, God knows we're going to have, we're going to say things and we're going to do things wrong. We're not going to exactly do all what's right because we're not perfect. And yeah, so. What do I believe about putting a guy in every classroom with a pro-gun approach? Listen, listen, Anwar, I don't support teachers having guns. They have a hard enough time teaching. So, no guns in school. No teacher should have a gun. And you know, and one of the things that, you know, we have to ask is, we have to make school more safer. You know, and, you know, like we have gated communities, and we're living in, people don't understand this, we're living in a more violent society than ever before. So can you imagine the school shootings that are taking place all over the country right now? Not just in Florida, but we have school shootings and people shooting at schools and kids in Philadelphia, in Chicago, in Baltimore. Oh my God! Yeah, we have school shootings in the inner cities, you know, in different areas around the country, all over America. So, you know, one of the things that we may have to do is that I always support it, is that, like, you have gated communities, you know, where you can't get inside those areas where people live at, those gated communities. You need gated schools where, you know, individuals, you have 2 lines you may have to get in, 2 parts of the 3 entrances you have to get in, and to keep our schools safe. We're not living in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. You know, we're living in 2018 where kids are more violent than ever before. You know, Brenda, what do you think to help this school safer? We need gated schools, gated communities, our schools. You know, and then if you look what's happening in Philadelphia, where you have kids that get out of high school, they leave high school and they have start fighting. You may see 200 or 300 kids fighting. You may have kids that are in Philadelphia. You know, this one teacher said, you know, Daryl, you know, when I told the kids to calm down and relax, and then as soon as I turned my head and start writing on the chalkboard, I got a chair thrown at me. So we're living a violent community, and one of the ways that we need to do is teach nonviolent education by Dr. Bernard Lafayette. He was Martin Luther King's aide, what I just talked about. We need to teach these kids, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th graders, you know, about nonviolence education. And sometimes, you know, that works. If, you know, how to resolve violence in our schools. So all for years and years, I mean, we've had violent schools in the inner city areas. You know, you look on Facebook, you look at these young kids, they're in junior high school, they're 9th, 10th graders with their cell phones, and they're violent. They're throwing chairs at each other, fighting. You know, mobs of young kids just in the classroom. You know, and it's serious, people. It is so serious that, you know, we need to change. We need a radical change. We need a president. We also need a radical Congress and governors and radical people who are believing in nonviolence and in our educational system and changing the way we think. We probably also, you know, we probably need boarding schools. I think boarding schools, military schools. The kids, to focus the kids on discipline. How about social media campaign that encourages people to report suspicious activities? Well, yeah, we need all that. We need everything that can help. But we probably need boarding schools. We probably need more military schools to get the kids to focus on discipline. And also, we need to teach nonviolence education. And also, all these different things that we need. And gated schools where individuals cannot get inside you have one gate, maybe 10 yards away, then another gate 15 yards away. And so, a person can go on one gate and then have a security at that gate and then another gate to get in. So there's ways to fix it, but we have to, how about metal detectors? There are already metal detectors in a lot of, especially in the inner city high schools. And, I don't want, I feel bad for kids that have to have metal detectors because they feel like they're, it's like in a prison. And no student should feel like they should be going to school and feeling like it's a prison. And, but certain these areas are, there's a lot of violence, violence and people bringing weapons to school. So, I looked at it as state, what does the state, as a state, rights, and what does the state believe? How they should run their state. Not everything is for different parts of the country, because you may have different parts of the country that are the areas are safer, and but you never know. So it's to me, it's according to your state and what your state believes in, and you feel that need, a threat, and violence, because we're now seeing that violence is breaking out all through high schools and colleges. And so, I believe in the Second Amendment. I truly believe that. But we have to figure out some way to make our young people safer. Cell phones. The question was, do you think that a person needs cell phones for social media during school hours have added to the violence? Yes. Oh, yes. When you have young kids, on Facebook, and they want to, or to use the word inner city, or suburbs, turn up, so they record on video, and they know they're being recorded on video, so they put it on Facebook and on YouTube, so they can act crazy and act a fool and turn up, So there's things that no. Well, the question was, I believe that kids should carry cell phones? For me, I believe that cell phones, let kids carry cell phones, but cell phones should be off, or turn them in to their classroom. Kids shouldn't have cell phones, especially in elementary and junior high school, and also high school. Turn your cell phones in class, and every child should at least have, or someone who can afford a cell phone, have a cell phone, because anything can happen, while they're outside of school, or certain situations. But kids shouldn't have cell phones, and recording crazy things in the class that are happening, and the kids know that they're being recorded, so the kids start reacting in more violent ways because they know they're being watched. And so there's certain things that we should allow, but there are certain things that we have to have control of. And there's ways to control things, people, believe me. And it's up to us, to raise our kids in a better way, and certain things should never be acceptable. And you have any more questions? This is the On Fire Show with the host Daryl Brooks. I'm going to CPAC on Saturday. Me and Steve Martino. We have the CPAC press pass and Enhanced Interrogation. That's the movie that we're writing and producing. So, is there any more questions? I don't see my dog. My dog, but Lovey. She's not barking. I don't know where she's at. She's sleeping. Yeah, she's somewhere sleeping somewhere. They screwed up every phones in school. Well, yeah, you know what? They're definitely right. But Andy, they screwed up ever letting phones in school. Well, yeah, cell phones are a serious problem, and They should never allow phones in school, and especially in classes. If a child or someone has a cell phone, they should at least turn it in the office and they pick up their cell phone later, but never in class because it's a distraction. A lot of these kids are distracted so much, and they have cell phones in the classroom, and teacher trying to teach, and kids playing with their cell phone. It's a big distraction. I can imagine if I was in elementary school, and I would have a cell phone. I can imagine in the 70s and 80s if I had a cell phone. It'd be Dr. J all day. Texting my friends, this playing basketball after school, doing some crazy stuff. But our kids need to focus. And there's nothing wrong with focusing and focusing on reading and math and science and engineering. So cell phones should not be allowed in the class. Definitely should not be turned on in the class. And we're giving these young kids what they want, and we need to really be challenging young kids and saying that actually this is wrong. We shouldn't continue to allow these cell phones in classrooms and in schools. Well, listen, cell phones should be all off or turned in school. And that's one of the things that, we have to teach our kids to be disciplined. Any other questions? I love this because I'm enjoying myself, and we're talking about serious issues, and I'm staying up because I have some coffee, and like last night this time I was knocked out. Yeah. And one of the coffee's good sometimes. And one of the things that I do, and I tell people is if listen to Martin Luther King as we talk about violence, because it's important. Some of his sermons and speeches, he talks about violence and always doing the right thing. We must always do the right thing. Why? Because it's the right thing to do, not because it's politically right, because it's the right thing to do. We're all are not perfect. We all have fallen short. We're going to make mistakes. No one is perfect. In the church, you got I love my grandmother, Mama Gracie. She was the strongest Christian I've ever met, and a example of a true Christian. But she wasn't perfect. She made mistakes, and so, but she was an example, as closest to a perfect person who I ever met, but we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to say things we don't really want to say. We're going to act, and we don't act in certain ways we really don't want to act. We're going to use or think of certain things we really shouldn't be thinking of. And so these are the ways of the world that will test us. But we have to keep on striving to do what's right and focus on love. That Christian love. What did Jesus say? Love everybody. Bless them that curse you. Pray for those who despitefully use you. Blessed are the purest in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And not just love some people, but love everybody. Love everybody. And Jesus said didn't like. No, because if some people just can't like, but love. And love is the most important thing. And and follow the law. And that's what we're as Christians do. Learn to love everybody, and tough love. And that's what we have to do. Tough love to our children. But if we have families that don't go to church, don't do the right thing, and they're raising children who don't do the right thing. They won't do the right thing. They're raising children that, who are not doing the right thing. And, always trust a man that loves God and coffee. Yeah. I like that. Always trust a man that loves God and coffee. And so, I love y'all people. But I just want to say that, we have to always, like I said, always, I lost my train of thought. always do the right thing. And we're not perfect individuals. We're going to make serious mistakes. Of all the mistakes I've made and things I've said and things you said and things other people have said, and we're going to make these serious mistakes. And but the thing is to admit to our mistakes, admit that we were wrong, and move forward. Because all have fallen short, and we know that we all have fallen short, and we have to raise our young kids that way. I'm a father. I wasn't a perfect father. I've said things and did things, but I love, we are never perfect. You always thought that, maybe our fathers and mothers were perfect, but they were serious mistakes. I grew up as a kid, inner city kid. Where, I love my mom. My mom loved me, but, a lot of us are single moms with no fathers in the house. My mother always told me, I'm going to be no good like my father, and I'm just like my father. He was no good, so I'm going to be no good. And, you just look like that no good daddy of yours. Or, it's the craziest things that, a lot of single boys had to go through or parents were divorced or separated or weren't there. So, a lot of us, boys, we went through a lot. And I know as a child, for me, I went through a lot. And, being not having a father in the house. And but I had a lot of positive role models. I didn't have any drug dealer role models and men around me that were whoring around doing the craziest things. But God is my father all the time. And so and that's what we had to turn to, God. I had uncles that went to church. All uncles went to church, and the men I knew around me were good men. So they kind of helped raise me. So we have to always do the right thing, and that's what we're doing about this tour. This tour it's called the On Fire Tour, and what we're doing is we're going around the whole parts of the country, from the East Coast to the Southeast to the Northwest, all the way to New Orleans, and we're going to Minnesota, we're going to Ohio, we're going to Chicago, and we're talking to the men in the community about changing the way they think, because this can't be acceptable. We're too violent of the community. We have a lot of our men that are going to prison, but a lot of our men that are teach our men to know the Constitution, to do what's morally right, not just what politically right, but do what's morally right. Take back the community. Stop selling drugs. Stop being violent. Learning to love. And that's what the kid. What do you believe in? Do you believe in, same-sex marriage? Do you believe in transgenderism? These are the things that the media has said that the people in the city believes in. That we believe in gay marriage, and we believe in transgender. It's okay for a man to dress up like a woman and a woman to dress up like a man. And there's it's crazy. But, we're going to challenge what the media says about the inner city areas. We're going to talk to men about being fathers again and going back in the communities. And we know it's hard. We all been there. We all have made mistakes, but we're going to these areas and talk about these things. And it's all about love, love. And whether you're in the city African Americans, in the city Spanish, or in the city whites, that are struggling, we're going to be praying and having a political conversation like, why are you still dealing with the same political party that has totally failed you for the past 40 years? Can you imagine, Trenton, Camden, Newark, Chicago, inner city areas. Look at Ferguson. New Orleans. Look at these inner city schools where you got kids that are graduating from the 12th grade. graduating from high school cannot read or write, or they are functionally illiterate. And then not just hundreds of kids, we have thousands of kids in these areas that are violent, that who believe in more so fighting and using the gun to handle their grievances with each other. You know, we have to put a stop to that. We have to challenge these young boys. You know, it's wrong. And so that's what we're trying to do is going to these inner city areas and talk to these individuals, about the Constitution. We're going to have talk about the Constitution. Do you know what the Constitution stands for? Do you believe in the Second Amendment? Do you believe that, yes, you do have a right to protect yourself and your family? If someone tries to break into your home, you have a right to protect your home, protect your property, because the Second Amendment gives us that right. So, we're talking about a number of political issues and social issues. So we need your help, and we need people to go to www.gofundme/onfiretour and give. And that's what a lot of people are asking questions. How can we help? Yeah, we need the financial help. Go to the On Fire Tour like the On Fire Tour page on Facebook, like the On Fire Show page, like that. Tell some friends about what we're trying to do. And we have a number of individuals: Ty Turner, Mina Jamal. We have a number of individuals that are going on this tour. And I just reading a message from Shirley Woods. I'm not going to say her last name, but I'm just reading a message. It's amazing what this Facebook Live do, and it reaches so many people. And, that's what we're trying to talk about. Please go to the On Fire Tour on Facebook and the On Fire show page, and click on it and tell some friends about what we're doing, and share what we're doing. And go to the On Fire, GoFundMe//On Fire Tour and give. That would be so helpful, that we can get your support. Oh, wow. Oh, Brenda. Thank you, Brenda. Brenda has donated $100. Thank you. Wow. This is amazing. So I am so excited because we're going to be Facebook Live. And so can you imagine all of us on the, thank you. I love you. God bless. We're going Facebook Live, and we're going to be on Facebook Live in an RV, and we're going to be having these great discussions. And so we want to debunk everything CNN has said, MSNBC has said, and we're going to be like, oh my God, so African American men, they really young, and they really believe this? And yeah. We're really against this. You go into barbershops and hear us having a conversation, and usually these private conversations, anything might be said, but it's true and what we believe in facts. And so this is MSNBC and CNN they don't go into these areas. No, they don't go into these areas, and they need more centers for kids to have role models. Andy, yeah, I've been. What's this? I can't. Andy. Andy said we need more centers to center community. Is that community centers, Andy? I've been thinking we need more centers for kids to have some role models. Yeah, but we need community centers. That's what we had coming up as young people, especially my generation. Community centers, CYOs. We had a place called. I can't think of the name of the place that we have in Trenton. We had the CYO, we had the Martin House Learning Center with Father Brian McCormick, He was a Catholic priest, great role model, great strong. He was an activist in our community. He was, and we had a lot of strong men, and that were men, and that's also important. And Chris is on. Hey, Chris. So, people, it's about challenging the community. It's about always doing the right thing. And what type of society are we going to have if we don't speak out and challenge what's happening? We need men, strong men of God to challenge strong American men, because this is an American problem that we have, to stand up and challenge and always do the right thing. Hey, Daryl, you need to get, you know what? It's so much. Chris says I need to get on Twitter. Twitter is a lot. I mean, it's, tweets and out of tweets. It's a lot. I don't know how the president does it. He's the president of the United States, leader of the world, free world, and he tweets early in the morning time. Like, wow. Thank you. You know what? I'll try to get on Twitter. I'll try on Twitter. I'll try to get at it. It's a lot. You gotta go to Facebook and some other things, and you gotta go to Twitter. So I'll try, but it's a lot. Twitter, yeah. So it's I'll try and I'll look into that. I am going to the CPAC convention, people. Me and Steve Martino, we're going to the CPAC. We're leaving Saturday. Yeah, we're too old to tweet. Yeah. And I think it was that Andy. Is that Andy who said, "Yeah, we're too"? Oh my God, Andy. Yeah, we're too old. Andy said that we were too old to tweet. Oh, hold in mind. Listen, you say I think I'm young. No, I'm 49 years old. I am 49 years old. I'm a few months older than I. And your tweet, Chris. Yeah. I'll look into it because Chris. And Chris, I'll look into tweeting. Okay. So I'm. No, you're not. You guys are funny. No, I'll look into tweeting. It's just it's a lot, but I'll definitely look in it for you. And but we're I love the Facebook Live, and it's some fun stuff. It's enjoyable. And, I look on, I just like having conversations with people and talking about serious issues. I got people watching from all over the country and all parts of I have some guy from England and somebody from Australia that are watching the show. And so, I'm from New Jersey, and you will be addicted to a much bigger audience and influence. Well, I try. One of the things that I had earlier I wanted to talk about was Phil Murphy and his state agency, established agency for defense or protection, protect for illegal immigrants. And, he wants illegal immigrants to get financial aid, to get driver's license. And we have a series, and that's one of he's a liberal governor and definitely a progressive. And, they're focused, that's the first thing he wanted to do, was come in and make sure the legal immigrants are taken care of, not the kids that are in high school, in the inner city or suburbs, making sure that high schools are safer. He wasn't focused on that. He wasn't focused on making sure our kids are the top educated in the country. He wasn't focused on that. He wasn't focused on crime and violence. He was focused on making sure the legal immigrants are protected and getting financial aid. So your tax dollars if you're in New Jersey and our tax dollars, or we're funding, he wants our tax dollars to fund illegal immigrants, and get them in college, while our young kids across the state and across the country are struggling to pay for college. And now we have to, our young kids have to focus on, we have to deal with illegal immigrants and no, you know, and deal with your tax dollars going to individuals that are legal. And, you know, what I understand from illegal immigration, that illegal is legal. It's wrong. If you're illegal, you have a warrant for your arrest. And it's amazing. Illegal is not illegal anymore. But if you're an American, and if you have a warrant for your arrest, they will lock you up and send you to prison, because, or, you know, send you to the county jail or city jail because you have a warrant, because you are illegal. But if a legal immigrant in New Jersey and certainly sanctuary cities, if you're illegal, they let you out. They don't keep you. But you know, Trump, I mean, and Trump is doing an amazing job. He's just legals. They're coming in, kicking the door, restaurants, businesses at night in your house, and taking you away because you're illegal. It's wrong. We have people, thousands of people that want to come in this country the legal way, and there's nothing wrong with the legal way. We have thousands of people that want to come in this country legally, and there's nothing wrong. They should come in this country legally, but when you come in this country illegal, and you try to you get welfare, you're trying to get license, and you want your kids to have financial aid and go to college, but you came here legally. And, you know, my thing is send them back. And it's wrong, because if we did the same thing in other countries, they would send us back. And if they're illegal, and if we're, I'm getting distracted again, but I'm on my email. But if you're illegal and you go to these other countries, they'll lock you up and send you back to America. And so we're only doing what's right and what should be right. And, you know, God bless our president. Will Trump build the wall and make Mexico pay for it? Anwar, why you got to ask me these questions, Anwar? Anwar. Yeah, so will Trump build the wall? Well, you know, I think that Trump should build the wall. I think that, and I don't know if Mexico will pay for it or not. You know, I'm not part of the president's aide, but aide's one of his individuals that he works with in the White House. But I think that there should be some type of a border wall, protect us from not just illegals that come in the country, but terrorisms, people that are who want to take down America, who want to destroy America. There are, you know, Islamic terrorists that are coming, have known to come through Mexico. So yeah, they should have a wall, or a big wall, to protect our citizens from. It's all about protection, you know. And you know, other countries have walls, you know. So the Great Wall of China, you know, where the Pope is at, he has a wall for protection. You know, so you know, we should have a wall to protect our families and our country. Because there are people that want to come into this country and destroy our country and destroy our way of life. And so, yeah, you know, thank you. Yeah, Anwar, you asked the hard questions. Anwar, you got to come on the show. And Anwar, and I told Anwar about Anwar is a writer, a great writer. Yeah, but you need a fishing permit. Yeah, it's not fair. Yeah. You know, if we go fishing in New Jersey or around certain parts of the country, you need a permit to fish. Yeah, and that's something. You know, if you don't have a permit for fishing, you know, then they won't lock you up, but they'll give you a fine. You know, you may pay $50 or $100 fine. So you know, we're like, you know, I hate to use the word. We're just backwards in this country, and those that are liberals are running this country and running the media. Where, you know, there was a term, ASS backwards, where, you know, I don't want to use that, but we're butt backwards. Yeah, really butt backwards. B-U-T-T, backwards. Because you ever just, you know, things don't make sense. Things are definitely don't make sense what's happening in this country. And we need individuals like ourselves and people to write our congressmen and write our governors and president and speak out. And also, you know, conservative, you know, I was a part of the Tea Party movement in New Jersey. And I went to the, I think, a 9/12 rally and the Glenn Beck rally and a couple other rallies that happened in Washington. And also the UN, not the UN rally, the Iranian rally, the deal that Obama made with Iran. I went to that rally, had Glenn Beck there in Washington, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and a bunch of other ones. Matter of fact, some of the pictures are on my Facebook, my Facebook on Fire Show photos on the Fire Show on the Facebook. Some of our pictures on there with me, Ted Cruz, and some other ones. And so there's some things that we may have to do as a people. And, one of the things, I love Martin Luther King. And, he talked about nonviolent civil disobedience, direct action. And when I tell the conservative people this, and I tell people who love God and love this country that, we may have to protest, get back into protesting again, get back into marching, shutting down highways, shutting down the byways, shutting down bridges, going to your state government. If they don't believe what you're saying, then, or what this country, the values of this country believe in, that we do everything to disrupt the way of order, that we shut them down. And because this is our country, and you have to believe in this country. And what did Martin Luther King said? If a man has nothing to die for, he's unfit to live. And so we must do as much as nonviolent civil disobedience and disruption to any political official that doesn't support the Constitution and who has mainly turned their back on the people of this country. And they shouldn't be in office. Vote them out, vote her out, and disruption. Nonviolent civil disobedience, direct action. Some conservatives don't believe in that, but this country. I'm not a man. I don't believe in violence in certain situations, but when it comes to protesting and organizing, we do. We have to boycott businesses that support certain political leaders. We have to protest. Just protest. That's what we have to do, because we have the right to protest. We definitely have the right to protest. And Dr. King, and he talked about protesting and nonviolence, but he talked about God on our side. What it said, that truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne, yet that scaffold sways the future, and behind the dim unknown stands God within the shadows, keeping watch above his own. As long as we do the right thing, people, and as long as we stand up, God is on our side. As long as we do the right thing, God is on our side. And just like it was the Tea Party, and we, the great Tea Party, with the civil disobedience, when they got all the tea and they dumped it over, they dumped it over to board the boat. So that was nonviolent civil disobedience. That's what the Tea Party did. Yeah. So, we have to believe in that. We have to always continuously to do the right thing and challenge our city government and state government. You can also challenge the federal government, but we have to be, God has to be a part of that movement. Any movements that we go in and about changing the way things are, getting back to God and country. This is the On Fire Show. I'm still talking to you guys, I'm still trying to drink some more coffee. I got Wayne. Hey, Wayne Hunter. Hello, how you doing? Oh yeah, Anwar says this, and we have Beverly on. You know, one of the things, like I said, nonviolent civil disobedience, direct action. We believe in protests, and we do protests, and you know, there's always room for more people to protest these issues and speak out. And because this is our country, this is, you know, and God has blessed this country. This is not a perfect country. We have never been perfect. We always have made serious mistakes, but as a country and as the people believe in God, we have to move forward and do the right thing. Yes, this is the On Fire Show with your host Daryl M. Brooks. It is 10:58. I got on at 10 o'clock, and I've had great discussions, and I love you all for watching. Anwar, Wayne, Andy, and Brenda. And thank you, Brenda, for the $100 donation that you've given to the On Fire Tour. And all you got to go to is support the On Fire Tour. We're taking it to the streets. We're talking about inner city issues, and we're going to be challenging the people in the city, bring constitutions, and we want to bring at least 5,000 to 6,000 constitutions and talk about your rights. Talking about leaving the Democratic Party, which I've totally failed you over and over and over again. I mean, it's when do you change? Look at Trenton, Camden, Newark. Look at Chicago. Look at Baltimore. Ferguson, Democrat. Look at all these different areas that Democratic areas have totally failed the community, and we're just, you know, sitting by and allow it to happen. No, we can't allow it to happen. We have to work together to challenge this corrupt political systems, especially of the Democratic Party, Democratic progressivism. If it was up to them, you know, men, women, children dress up like, you know, girl dress up like a boy, boy dress up like a girl, and it's okay. Going to schools, dressing, you know, it's crazy. Transgender, transvestite, trans this, trans, it's so many names. I mean, it's the most craziest thing you ever want to see. Yeah, I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, what's, you know, and a lot of our young kids, they're so confused. They don't know what to believe because of the liberal media has told them believe this and believe that. You know, if the sky is, you know, we know that the sky is blue, but, you know, liberal media come out, the sky is green or yellow, you know, or the sky is purple one day. I mean, really, and you believe it. You know, left is right, right is left, up is down, down is up. A circle is now, the world is a circle, it's flat. Yes, working, Wayne, working together is the key to success. And like I said, and I thank you all for that. And this is the On Fire Show. I am getting late. You should see my eyes. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to stay up. And the coffee has gotten cold. So it's right out of the book, 1984. I have to read that book. I heard a lot about the book 1984. And I think I'm going to read it online tonight. And so, you know, one of the things that I do is like to have, you know, I like to have books online, and I can hear them on, you know, speaking books, you know, books that speak, talking books, and I can listen. And I hate to use the stop traffic, a active thing. Okay. Yeah, well, it's serious. It's serious, and we have to. If we believe in this country, and we love this country, we got to go to extreme measures because the liberal left are going to some of the most extreme measures to transform this country, and in 10, 15 years, if we don't stop it now. Understand what I'm saying? If we don't stop it now, then can you imagine what this country is going to look like in 10 to 15 years from now? And you won't recognize it. And it's sad. to not recognize what this country, and this is a great country. We've done so many amazing things, but the liberal left they're just trying to take this country to a place that that we will never recognize it again. And so, with that note, I'd like to thank you all. God bless. I am getting tired. This has been a great show, and I love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow. Matter of fact, me and Steve Martino, he'll be here tomorrow, and we're leaving. Our train leaves about 3:00 a.m. Saturday morning, so we have to be at the station. But God bless, and I'll be videoing Facebook Live. Facebook Live at the CPAC convention, and also on the Amtrak train. So I thank you all. God bless. Peace and soul. Enjoy your sleep, because I'm about to enjoy my sleep. I'm listening to some T.D. Jakes. I like listening to T.D. Jakes at night sometimes, so I can get the truly message, or Charles Stanley, and so I get the message while I'm sleeping. And so that does something to your head, yes. Cynthia is on. I mean, why y'all see people signing on you late? It's 11:03 and people are signing on. Like I said, people, we really, thank you, Andy. I always say taking care. And like I said, we need to challenge ourselves. We need to read the Bible, read the history of this country and what the amazing things that this country has done. And focus on doing the right thing. Martin Luther King said, "As a man has nothing to die for, he isn't fit to live." That we're in that. And another quote from Dr. King, he said that that we're all caught up in this great inescapable network mutuality, kind of seeing garment of destiny, and whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And that I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be, and you can never be what you ought to be unless I am what I ought to be. Then he quotes John Donne, the poet, and says that no man is an island, every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. Then he goes on to say that any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind. Therefore never sin to know whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. And this is where you should be as a country, because this is a great country, and we have to work together. And we have to make America great again and educate our kids. Our kids should be reading at a top level, math at top level. Our kids should be focusing on math, engineering, and science, and certain types of jobs, skills, so they can get certain types of jobs, so they can make at least 80, 90, 100,000 or more. Every kid doesn't need to be a basketball player or a football player. We need mathematics, science, engineering, great inventors. So these are the things that we do need for our young kids in our country to be great inventors and always be great writers and reporters and authors. Those are the things that we need. No more lawyers. But like I said, this is the On Fire show. Oh my God. Hey, Vicky J. Howard is watching. And, I'm going on my own phone about to die, but I'd like to thank you all for watching. This is the On Fire show, and please go to www.gofundme.com/On Fire Tour, or go to On Fire Tour page here on Facebook, or go to On Fire Show on Facebook and like it, and tell friends and share. You see some more videos that we've done. Okay, people. I have to go. This is Daryl Brooks. I don't want to fall out, but God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow. Me and Steve will be at the Amtrak train going to DC, the CPAC. Meet people about the tour. Meet people about this is On Fire Show badge, and we're also putting together a movie, The Enhanced Interrogation. Okay, God bless. This thing don't want to. Oh.